Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Ahmad Bayan coming to you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Alright, and this one is something that took place earlier today in Mexico. Alright, where it says Mexico tourists tongue erupts into war as cartel clashes with army. Foreigners warn to seek shelter. Right? And all this chaos that's taking place right now because they unalived, one of their they calling him like a kingpin, one of their top, drug lords, right? And the place just went in a frenzy right after that, with in hours, in a couple of hours time, everything went in a frenzy, So it just showing you that, perilous times is coming, and things could just kick off like that, right? Where it is, you could be, as they talk about the foreigners, foreigners want to seek shelter, so you go to some country, to vacation or whatever the case may be, all right, or on business, and you come up to something just happen to play off, right? Where chaos starts, war start, all right? The Lord bring judgment upon you immediately, right? So before we get into more, let's just start from the beginning here. It says a Mexican reporter tongue Slovakia. A Mexican resort tongue has descended into chaos as the cartel goes to war with military over the death of major leader, right? And another thing to add also, where Trump and these others that following him, where they keep pushing, towards Venezuela and saying, well, Venezuela is hurting their country and, poisoning their people and whatnot. When this taking place right next door to them, right? And Mexico, right, is right next to America, right? And everything taken, this is where their problems are, right? And I believe the US had a part to play with this, where there was basically monitoring the guy, the major leader of that cartel, to there was monitoring him, and then everything went on, everything passed on to the Mexican, right, where they took the shot and whatnot. But it just showing you here the chaos. This is what I'm getting into here. All right. It says here, on Sunday, drug cartels responded to, right, Sunday, which is today, right? On Sunday, drug cartels responded to death of Jal Jaliso new generation leader Ni Nero right Nimisio El Cho Mencho, right? I gotta pronounce the rest, right? Right, so they had a military raid upon him, all right, and there's the guy here that they went after, all right. So just showing you, you know, after this took place, you know, how the place just got chaotic, right? Let me slow down this, right? How the place just went chaotic, all right, which is going to remind you of Jacob's trouble that is going to come, all right, because these type of chaotic behaviors and whatnot, all right, people you know, I don't believe anybody got any casualties took place, you know. I don't think anyone died, but you know, it's just the direction they went, right, where it left off with burning down places. You know, they say they could see the smoke from the satellites above, you know, all these different things that was taking place, right? Let's have our next video here. Spirit of Avokasha. And this is nothing too long, you know, just a short, quick one. You know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right.
Together. That's what a force multi. And what's next? So the U.S. handled most of the steps 1 through 4. Mexico handled step 5, and now everybody's working step 6 together. That's what a force multiplier looks like. And America didn't violate Mexican sovereignty, at least not officially. But without U.S. intelligence, Mencho would probably still be sipping coffee someplace up in the mountains. So the Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, confirmed the kill and called it a great day for cooperation. So the Trump administration is doing a victory lap, and look, that's fair enough. They designated this cartel a foreign terrorist organization. They leaned on President Sheinbaum to act, and today they got results. But pump the brakes just a little bit. We've been here before. We got El Chapo twice. And what happened? Well, his cartel splintered, lieutenants went to war with each other, and the violence got worse before it got better. So some would argue it never got better. Mencho's death creates a power vacuum, a big one, inside the Jalisco cartel. And in that world, vacuums don't stay empty for long. You've got ambitious lieutenants and regional bosses and family members, all of whom think they should be the next jefe. And by the way, the way that they settle that argument isn't with a vote. It's with AK-47s and car bombs. On top of...
See that? So you see they're fighting for what? For someone else to have a head, you know, to take the lead and whatever, you know. So they have their own little traditional thing they're doing, you know, which, you know, in a time like this, you know, with Esau, you know, basically bringing chaos on the earth, you know, and also looking to bring forth his new world order and so forth, you know. All these things is going to, you know, meet, you know, it was going to butt heads with each other, you know, where more violence is going to be on the earth, you know, more violence is going to be in Babylon, all right. Things are going to go chaotic, all right, where it will have that sedition among men and so forth, all right.
That the Sinaloa cartel, El Chapo's old outfit, which has been in its own internal civil war, they might see this as an opportunity to grab territory. So now you've potentially got a two-front war. Jalisco cartel fighting itself and Jalisco cartel fighting Sinaloa, all while the Mexican government tries to keep the lid on. So here's what matters to you and me. The cartel is the #1 supplier of fentanyl to the United States. No question about it. That's the drug that's killing over 70,000 Americans a year. And if this operation...
See that? The drug that is unaliving majority of the Americans, right? But they yet still they say they go in to what do you call this place, to Venezuela, because they are killing their people, right? With the drugs, so they claim. But when they reach there, what they turn everything around to, oil, right? Which is the oil they really wanted. So they're showing you the lies that these devils just come out with, you know. That is how these devils distinct. Let's see if I could get the script here real quick. Psalms 58. And verse 3. It says, the wicked are strained from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Right? This is how these wickeds are. This is how Esau is. Right? The so-called white man. Alright? He's known as a liar. Alright? He's known as the liar. Alright? He's a deceiver. Okay, so when they say one thing, really and truly they mean something else. If they tell you run, it's better you stay. If they tell you stay, better you run. Alright? Never trust thy enemy.
The drug that's killing over 70,000 Americans a year. And if this operation disrupts their supply chain, even temporarily, that's lives saved, period. But history tells us that supply chains adapt. New cooks, new routes, new bosses. The demand doesn't disappear because one guy died in a helicopter. And if the cartel splinters into 5 smaller groups that are fighting for market share, you could actually see a short-term spike in trafficking as each faction tries to prove it can deliver the product. The real question is whether the Mexican authorities and the U.S. can sustain the kind of pressure that they've got right now on the cartels. One dead kingpin is a headline, but dismantling the network underneath him, that's the actual war, and that takes years, not press conferences. So look.
All right. So let's get something here. Matter of fact, let's get in the GNT. All right, this is the GNT. All right, this second is just chapter 15, and it's very my Baba Kusha looking for the part there. And verse 14, right? In the GNT, right? Second is just 15 and 14. It says, the world and the people in it are doomed, right? War that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against another nations. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control, right? These are the things that are happening, right? And it's going to build up even more and more. Okay? So it's happening with the elites, it's happening with the cartels, all of them are basically going to clash very soon. Esau is going to bring out his humanoid robots, because the place is going to be so chaotic that, they will fear to put their own people out there, or they will lose some of their people out there also, where they will have no choice but to lean towards this technology, All right. So it's going to be a real chaotic time, right? It says, while ignoring the legitimate government, there will be Salakia, there will no longer be free access to the cities, right? Because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live, right? And you see, as I was showing here, Salakia, as I was showing there with the video here, the amount of chaos, right? I'll go back to the video, right? Where they're showing you the kind of chaos that took place after this man has been deleted, right? So Jacob Trouble is going to be even, it's going to be way chaos, hey, real chaos is going to be in that time, right? This is why you had to seek Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right? It will be unsafe to be out there, Let's jump back. Reach. Right, verse 19, it says, driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and and mercilessly plunder their possessions. Power says, I am calling together all the kings of the earth to come from the north, south, east, and west to turn back and restore what they have taken. I will pay back with the same harsh treatment they have always given to my chosen people. Right? So the Lord is bringing what? Chaos onto this wicked place. All right? Esau, Edom. All right? And we see in the direction everything is heading. All right? So, so lucky if I was kind of all over the place, but, it's just going into what taking place right now. All right? What you have to do is repent, turn back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right? Which is our true power. All right? Israel, true power. All right? So with that, I will say Shalom.